my vocal exercises, every morning, and that helped me out, just trying to always just be cognizant of my voice and just trying to make sure that I don't do anything to hamper it.
Well, that is amazing because I'm a singer also, and as a radio talk show host, I do vocal warm-ups as well. Now your fans, Lenny, they want to know about you. So what we do on Real Talk with Big G, we like to start from the beginning to the end. Let's talk about where you were born and raised. I understand it's in Arkansas.
Yes, I was born in Little Rock, Arkansas, and I moved to Oakland, California when I was about 14 months old. And so I went all the way through Oakland schools. I think I went to school in Berkeley for one year. But, the majority of my upbringing was 99.9% was right here in Oakland, California.
What I found most interesting when I was reading your bio is that you started learning how to play. And this I thought I knew absolutely everything about Lenny Williams. You know how fans are. We think we know everything, right? Well, we do not. And one interesting thing is that you started learning how to play the trumpet very early on. And I find that to be very intriguing. What was it about the trumpet as a child that you find attractive?
Well, I don't know. I was in the 4th grade, and I was going to Prescott Elementary School, and then they had an assembly, and they had all these instruments laid out, and they said, if you wanted to learn how to play an instrument, just pick one. And, the trumpet just looked fascinating to me. And, Louis Armstrong was real big at that time, and Louis Jordan, and I just, gravitated to that, and I said, I want to play that. And they gave me a trumpet and gave me some paperwork to take home for my parents to sign that, if I lost it or whatever or damaged it, that, they would be responsible for it, and my parents signed it, and then I just took off and then started learning how to read music. But before that, I had been in junior choir at my church, and started off doing that as a kid. So I was already singing. I wasn't leading any songs, but I was using my voice and getting used to standing in front of people and things like that. And so the trumpet allowed me to learn how to read music. Fascinating.
That is definitely a very, very fascinating story. Are there any other instruments that you picked up after the trumpet?
Yeah, I picked up, I started, went to college and, took up music theory, so I had to learn, play the piano. And then when I was in the group Tower Power, I started doing some, guitar and started, playing the guitar. Although I never became proficient on the piano or the guitar, I, primarily used it for writing. And one while, I did play a little bit, but, I wouldn't consider myself a piano player or a guitarist, but, I know my way around the instrument.
Yes, absolutely. Now, speaking of the group, I'm going to jump ahead a little bit for my friend Carl Cranshaw, who is a phenomenal guitarist in New Orleans, and he's definitely a big fan of Tower of Power and Lenny Williams. So he wanted me to ask you a question regarding Tower of Power. How did Tower of Power and Lenny Williams come about? What brought that connection?
Well, I think I made my first record in 1969, and then people were saying, "Well, are you going to do any shows?" And I had never been on stage, other than singing in church. And so I was like, "Well, I don't have a band. I didn't even know how to get a band or anything like that." And so a friend of mine introduced me to this guy who was managing some bands. So he was the post office. He worked at the post office, and so he took me out to a suburb of Oakland called Fremont, California, and he introduced me to this predominantly white band, and they were called the Motown Blue-Eyed Soul Band. And so I met these kids, and we rehearsed a couple of times, but nothing ever became of it. And then fast forward about three years, and I was hanging out with Larry Graham, and him and I were best friends. Larry Graham from Sign to Family Stone, and he was still with Sly and Family Stone at that time, and we were writing songs. And so he's like, "Well, we need to put some horns on this stuff." And so he invited this band called Tower Power to come over. And when they walked through the door, I said, "Oh, I know these guys. These are the kids from the Motown Blue-Eyed Soul Band." So we kind of reconnected, and I started writing for them. And then they had a problem with their singer at that time. And then they asked me to join the band, and I joined the band. And we recorded So Very Hard to Go, and the next thing I knew, 2 months later, it was number one record all over the world.
Yes. Yes. And you know what I find interesting about your involvement with Tower of Power? I was listening to the music. I went back last night and I just kind of sat down because your music is, your music is about feeling. Your music is the kind of music that brings out emotions. I'm going to call these emotions latent emotions because they're there somewhere, but you don't really know they're there until you put on any Lenny Williams song and you sit back and you relax and you start getting these feelings like, ooh, these emotions and these things started happening to you, mentally and physically that takes you to a completely different dimension. That's what your songs do to people. Your songs allow people to relax and to let go and to let themselves be themselves and enjoy your music, because your music is sort of like, I don't mean to offend any religious person because I am, but your music is sort of like spiritual in a sense. Your music.
Well, the reason, and I think the reason that is because I have a real strong gospel influence. I grew up in a church with the Stewart family, with the Sly Stones family, Walter and Ed Hawkins, Tremaine.
Yes.
Billy Preston, Andre Crouch, and Sandra Crouch. And then on top of that, I was a teenage preacher. And so I was a teenage preacher. And so when I sing, part of being a preacher was to address all of these emotions, to comfort people when they're sad or when, they have trouble, or to make people feel good and excited and, want to lift their hands and, praise the Lord or whatever.
Yes.
So those same, I look at those same things when I sing or when I write songs to bring a message, whether it's a message of love or if it's a message about community or whatever, and to bring, talk on those subjects and to bring that same emotion, which would make a person want to, lift themselves up, so to speak.
Yes, yes. For me, personally, there are only, I would say, 2 or 3. I'm going to say 2 or 3 singers of all time that can really touch my soul. Lenny Williams, Marvin Gaye, and there's another artist whose name I will not say today because he will be on Real Talk with Big G. But anyway, there are 3 artists, and the reason why is because something spiritual happens to me when I am sitting down or driving, whatever, that transforms me. I could be having a bad day and I put on a "Cause I Love You," or any one of your songs, any one. It changes my mindset. And I'm sure that all of your fans feel the very same way. And ladies and gentlemen, I want you to do me a personal favor right now. I want you to go to www.lennywilliams.com and I want you to download the song off. This is the one that I love, Lenny. 6 in the morning. I want everybody to download 6 in the morning. And when you're done downloading 6 in the morning, I want you to download, is it Still In, Lenny? Is that the title?
It's called Still. So they could go to either LennyWilliams.com or they could either go to iTunes or Amazon for that also. Yeah, right, yeah.
Go somewhere, ladies and gentlemen, and get this music. This is real music that you've been waiting for. Real music that you've been desperately crying for. Real music still lives on. Nothing is wrong with hip-hop music. I love hip-hop music. I represent hip-hop artists. But there's a part of me that's also craving real music, the kind of music that that feel good, touch your soul, get low down, dirty, kind of feel good music. And you give that to us, Lenny. You really, really do. Now, I have a fan. I was on Facebook this morning And I was asking all of your fans to let us know what is their favorite Lenny Williams song. And I'm going to try to give you the name of the song that she gave me. I should have written the title down, but you have touched so many females' hearts over the years, and that is absolutely miraculous. But you've also touched men. You've touched men's souls to want to be better husbands and better boyfriends and better lovers to their significant other. But not only that, here's what I've noticed, Lenny. A couple months ago, I got a phone call. From a young man that lives in Las Vegas. He calls me up like about 11 o'clock at night. He says, JuLa, I want you to write this name down. I'm thinking this boy's crazy. Why are you calling me 11 o'clock? He said, oh my God. I'm like, what? He said, I recently went to see my wife and I. They're about 31. They went to see you, Lenny Williams, perform in Las Vegas. And I was told you turn it out. It was sold out. He said there were more young people in your audience than older people. I'm not surprised. I said, hey, young man, I'm not shocked. Hey, this is Lenny Williams, but your music has transcended time, age, barrier, sex, everything. Now, how does a man stay so humble? This is my next question to you. How do you remain so humble, knowing that your music is just as fresh, today as it was back then? How do you remain so humble knowing that?
Well, I think that's just part of my, Christian upbringing, humility, I mean, Jesus, he washed the disciples' feet, he washed other people's feet. And I just think that, you just realize that everybody is important. And, it's part, you look at a car, and if a tire is flat, this car is not going to run. So everybody plays a part, and I just look at everybody playing a part, because if people didn't listen to my music, or nobody bought my music, or nobody requested my music, or people didn't come to see me, I'd just be a singer that was, somewhere singing. And so as a consequence, I consider everybody a part of my music, and they make it happen. And so I don't look at myself as being bigger than anybody, or superior. I just look at that I have a part to play in bringing forth good music. And people who taught me the music, people like you mentioned, Marvin Gaye. I used to hang out with Marvin. I learned from him. So part of me is Marvin. Part of me, and are people that I've had experience to learn from. So I just look at it that I'm just doing my part, and I'm fortunate that the light has shined on me to play a significant part in my musical, in the music that I bring.
Yes. That's really awesome, and it's something to be admired, because there are so many artists, and I don't name names on this show, but there's so many artists that God has blessed. I feel all blessings come from heaven. I really do. I feel all blessings come from God. He's the creator of everything, even rap and hip hop music. God is the creator of everything. But some people, I feel, take success for granted. They take it for granted, and they get caught up in that hype, in that entertainment hype, because people that's in, I would say, publicity, public relations, and blah 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 blah. Their job, of course, is to tell you're great and you're fabulous and you're this and you're that, da 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 da. And their job is to keep it pumping, keep it going, da 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 da. But at the same time, as a human being, I feel an artist should have a foundation. One thing Howard Hewitt said to me in March when I had him as a guest on the show is that he had a foundation from early on as a child. And sometimes when you get caught up in that Hollywood thing, if you don't have a foundation to hold on to when the earth starts shifting and shaking your world a little bit. You're going to fall. You're going to fall flat on your face. And I think, in my opinion, that is what happens so often in the industry today. I've never, ever heard any, negative press about Lenny Williams, none of that. How do you keep yourself out of all that craziness and ridiculousness? Do you just kind of like keep it all about the music, and when you're not out there performing, you just kind of back away into your zone to stay away from that nonsense out there?
Well, I just try to pick the things that I do. I don't say I hate, but I keep referring to the Bible. The Bible says, to avoid the very presence of evil. So if I go somewhere and I see people, doing drugs or something like that, if I'm at a party or a nightclub, then I leave. And then like yesterday, I was off for a couple of days. I went golfing with my grandson, and we went, playing baseball and doing different things. So those are the things that I do, try to do family-oriented things, and, instead of, always going to parties. Some parties you have to go to, and not all parties are, negative parties that, where there's, illicit or, illegal things going on, but I try to, just stay away, from, the whole nightclub scene and things like that, that a lot of entertainers go to, because a lot of times those places are breeding grounds for, getting involved in extramarital affairs or drugs or alcohol and things like that. And then, you just find yourself, getting in trouble. You got a few drinks, and you jump in your car, and you're heading home, and you get pulled over by the police and things like that. So I just try to, just stay away from, circumstances like that as much as possible.
Yeah, and that all brings us back to having a strong foundation, because if you have a strong foundation, we all know what's good and what's not good for us. I just want to give a shout out to one of your biggest fans who's listening right now. Her name is Tamara Lynn White Lord, and she says, Lenny, that one of her favorite Lenny Williams song of all time is "This Is for the One That Got Away."
Oh wow! Yes, yeah. That's a great song. It's on my latest CD, Still in the Game. This is for the one that got away. And if people like that song, they can go, like I said, to iTunes, Amazon, or to LennyWilliams.com. They can get that song. But this is for the one that got away. And my good friend Ken Wilson gave me that song, and I really like it. When I sing it, people get excited about it.
Oh yeah, absolutely. You know what? There is a comedian from New Orleans who is a big fan of yours. His name is Tony, and he's like, "Oh, Lenny has had so many hits. It's impossible." He's a phenomenal actor and comedian. I want to give a shout out to Tony Frederick, who said he's had more than one. So people cannot really just say, they cannot just name one favorite Lenny Williams song, because you've had countless. I was sharing your bio before you had called with your fans. Like I said, you have such an interesting history of your life in music. And one thing that we do, we keep it about the music. We keep it about the career. We never try to delve into somebody's personal family life. That is your business. Big G Artist Agency is a premier talent booking agency with a new wave of artists. And our theme is Ride the Music. Ride the music. Don't let yourself get boxed in with one type of music. Go out there and allow your taste to be very eclectic and experience the world, because the universe is vast. Now, I'm going to say once again to your fans who are listening to this program, if you don't have time to go to iTunes or to LennyWilliams.com to download his songs, I want you to make sure right after this broadcast that you do it. And I'm going to tell you why, ladies and gentlemen. Last night, I took my neighbor's 17-year-old female daughter with me to Walmart. She heard a couple songs on the, I think, YouTube by you, Lenny. And
Yes,
she's like, "Oh, Miss JuLa, let's go to Walmart. I want to get me a couple Lenny Williams classic albums at Walmart." I'm like, okay. So we drive to Walmart. We're walking down the aisle. I said, you know what? I'm going to have to send a letter to Walmart and say, hey, you need to bring some Lenny Williams in here. We need some Lenny Williams in all the Walmart chains. Seriously. Because these young kids, they are more intelligent than some of these commercial so-called experts think. This child is 17 years old. She's now a senior in high school. She wanted some Lenny Williams, and I promised her that if I have to drive down Bourbon Street or whatever street in New Orleans, we're going to find some Lenny Williams, maybe even at Peaches Records. And she said she's going to share it with her friends. So I just wanted to let you know that 17-year-old wants some Lenny Williams. Absolutely. Now I want to get back to our interview. And here's another question your fans want to know. Who were some of your musical influences early on?
Well, when I was growing up, I listened to Sam Cooke. I mean, he was definitely, my greatest influence. But I listened to the radio, so as a consequence, I listened to, Solomon Burke, Clyde McFadder, Lloyd Price. I listened to, the Coasters, just listening to, different people, on the radio. And so as a consequence, listening in church, to a lot of the quartet singers, the Clara Ward singers and the Caravans. And so, I think listening to the radio is a big thing because you get a chance to hear so many different types of music. Like he was saying, develop an eclectic, love and style for your music. And so, as a consequence of listening to the radio, I had just numerous influences. But I would say the most notable ones were Sam Cooke and some of the gospel singers that I listened to.
Oh, Sam Cooke, one of my favorite. I honestly could listen to Sam Cooke's music every day because I'm a huge fan of soul music, such as Aretha Franklin. It's my understanding that you have performed on the same stage as the Queen.
I have. I got a chance to go. She actually requested that I go out and open up for her, and so that was like a really big deal. And then I got a phone call from her agent once, and he said, Miss Franklin is having a Christmas party, and she wants you to come and be the entertainment. And so he said, now they're going to rent a big theater. It probably seats about 3,000 people. He said, but it's only going to be about 150 or 200 people, her family and friends, and you're going to be the entertainment. And so I flew to Detroit and my band, and we were there. And then I leave my room and I go somewhere and I come back and it's just like wall-to-wall flowers in my room. And so then I get a phone call and I said, hello, Lenny. And I'm like, yes. And I'm like, I'm almost about ready to faint, fall out or something like that. And then she's like, do you like your flowers? Your accommodations okay? And I'm saying, yeah, everything's great, right? And so we were just talking, and then we hung. So I'll see you tonight. And so then I call my wife, and I'm telling her about it. She says, well, did you say the flowers? No, I didn't. I didn't know what to do. I was just like talking to her. And then she's like, well, you better say thank you or you'll never talk to her again. So that night, I was like, oh, well, thank you for the flowers and whatever, But, yeah, I got a chance to become a friend of Aretha Franklin's, and she gave me her phone number and everything. So it was just amazing to just be that close, to the Queen of Soul.
Oh yes, absolutely. I've been a fan. My mom said I've been a fan of Aretha Franklin. Seems like since I came out of her womb.
Yeah.
I love Aretha Franklin, and she's another just another blessing. Just another blessing to the world, her voice. She has blessed. But, getting back to you have blessed so many people because you know what? I've never been married ever. And maybe one day I will, but for the time being, I'm single. But you know what? And getting back to 'Cause I Love You, some men feel that a man is not supposed to cry. But something tells me that you beg to differ, because now the lyrics, I'm going to pull up those lyrics. Those are not just any kind of lyrics. Those lyrics are deep. It just breaks all barriers. It just takes down the shell. It takes down that wall. It takes down everything and say, look, I'm a human being. I am just a man. But you know what? I think you are a woman that is worth cherishing, fighting for, and made to feel love and to feel passion and to know that you are loved. For instance, I have your lyrics. I was here. I'm not going to read the whole thing. This song apparently seems to me it's about and I want you to kind of tell your fans what this song is really about. But for me, as a woman, as a female, it seems like a song about a man who's in love with a woman, and for some reason she doesn't really believe it, or she doesn't feel it, or whatever. She wants him to kind of like what do you say it like sort of like ratify that love or prove that love, or so he's saying, look, I love you so much. Here's how much I love you. Like, how much do you love me? I need you. I love you. I want you. I mean, like, really, how many times can you tell somebody that and they don't believe you? I think at the end of this song, I think that whomever, did you write this song, Lenny?
I did. Yeah, me and a friend of mine, Michael Bennett. Yeah,
okay. My opinion is that at the end of the day, whomever you all were writing this song about, if they didn't believe you before, I'm sure they believe you afterwards. This song, I mean, you could not have given any more. You could not have said any more. You could not have expressed any more. You could not. It almost seems like a cry, not like a weeping kind of cry, but a cry of love, a cry of baby, baby, I love you, I want you, I need you. You're my everything, you're my heart, you're my soul. You just kind of, sort of like you just kind of, you just dug so deep into your core in this song. How did you do that? What was it like when you were in the studio and you were laying down those tracks?
I did this song twice. I recorded it.
I'm sorry, you were breaking up. Hello?
Yes.
Yeah. No, you're breaking in and out.
I'm still in the same place. So I don't know what the issue is. I haven't moved. Can you hear me now?
Yes, I can.
Yeah, I recorded this song twice. I recorded it when I was on Motown Records, and it didn't have the talking in it. And then I started performing it, and then I left Motown and I went to ABC Records and I re-recorded it. And it's interesting, the day that I was recording it, my producer, Frank Wilson, said, Andre Crouch and Sandra Crouch are coming to the studio. So I'm thinking, oh, here comes the greatest modern day gospel singer in the world is coming, to the studio to watch me record, and so I just had to really dig down deep to really, really sing that song and bring out all the emotion of the words and everything like that. So that was definitely an inspiration for me to, just try to pull out all the stops and, it's almost as though I was performing for Andre Crouch and his sister Sandra. Yeah.
Oh my God! Let me just say this: the lyrics, the part where you said your friend was telling, he said, Lenny, you just ought to forget about her, But I told my friend, I said, maybe you've never been in love, like I've been in love, and maybe you've never felt. This is the part that touches me. You've never felt the things I felt. This is a man being real. Right. Non-pretentious.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. So a lot of guys like that song, "Cause I Love You," and I think what it is, in a way, I can, speak they can speak vicariously through me, I mean, or, maybe they may not necessarily cry or want to, plead with the woman for her love or for her acceptance, but, they can, put on, 'Cause I Love You, and, more or less it can, it can be kind of a conduit for them to express themselves. And so, so I think that's why a lot of guys like that song.
That's a very interesting point of view, because I've often wondered, why do men love? Sometimes I think more men love "'Cause I Love You" than women. But now it really kind of makes sense, because your song "'Cause I Love You" expresses things that they cannot express. So it's sort of like a way of saying what they cannot say. And I don't think, I know, I'm going to say I know. I don't care who sings, who tries to remake your song "'Cause I Love You." There won't ever, 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 ever be anybody that can sing that song like you sing it. There's nobody that can sing it vocally. There's nobody that can create stronger emotions and tell your story as deep, as in depth, and as, I'm going to say, spiritual as you told that story. And I just want to thank you on behalf of all of your fans around the world. Thank you so very, very much. Now, I have another fan who just texted me wanting to know, what was your experience like when you did your stint at Motown? They went on your website and they're looking at a picture of you and the Motown mogul founder, Berry Gordy. What was that experience like?
Well, Motown's experience was, remember when I was just, elated and overjoyed when I first looked at the record and it had the Motown label on it. I was like, wow, I'm, up at Motown and you're walking around and, you might bump into Marvin Gaye or I never, or whomever, and so it was just an amazing experience because Motown is so historical and, it's such a gem. And so, I was just elated to be there and, to be around all the creativity, just listening to, all the great producers there, talking about making records and how to make records. And, I just learned so much, when I was there. I wasn't there a long time, only maybe about a year and a half, just talking to Suzanne Cass, who's gone on to be this great movie producer and things like that. So it was just a wonderful, wonderful experience. And, trying to emulate Berry Gordy, to be...
Hello, Lenny? Lenny, we have lost you. Okay, we've lost Lenny Williams, and I'm sure that he's going to be calling back. Here he goes. Hello, Lenny?
Yes.
Yeah, we had lost you for a moment. Okay, we got you now.
Yeah. Just at Motown, trying to just, when you're around greatness, you just try to soak it up. If you're an athlete and you get a chance to be around Michael Jordan or, somebody like that, you just try to soak it up and try to learn. So that, it was like going to college for me.
Sure. Yeah. Now let's talk about the current state of music, today's music. When you are not performing, and I'm sure that you are performing most of the year, you're very, very, very busy man. But when you are not performing, what type of music do you like to listen to? Who does Lenny Williams listen to?
Well, it's interesting. Sometimes I'll be riding in my car and I'll turn on and I'll listen to some classical music, and then I'll turn over to the hip hop station and listen to some hip hop. And then I love to listen to James Brown and things like that. Just go back and listen to some Jackie Wilson or listen to OJ's. Yeah, I listen to a little bit of everything, and country music. Some, just kind of grew up liking all kinds of music.
Well, it seems that we have lost. We've lost your. Are you still there?
I am. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Yes.
You must be you must be talking on your iPhone.
Yes, and going to a baseball game today. With some of the kids in Oakland, and they have a baseball league, and I'm going over to throw out the first pitch and sing the national anthem. So I just came over in this area and parked, and they have a lot of wires over here, so maybe that's interfering with. Yeah,
perhaps. But getting back to what you were saying.
Yes.
So basically, you seem like you are the type of man who, when you are surrounded by greatness, you want to, be consistent with your environment, which is really, really good. People are inspired by people who are doing wonderful things. But so when you are not performing, you enjoy classical music. What is it about classical music that really intrigue, that kind of relaxes you and intrigues you? What is it about it? Is it the various instrument sounds, or what?
Yeah, I love the sounds of the instruments. The oboe, the bassoon, the strings, and like you say, it's very soothing. But that's not the only thing I listen to. I mean, I listen to hip hop. I listen to R&B. I go back and get some old James Brown, things like that. I like listen to R. Kelly. I like it's like music. I listen to just about a little bit of everything. Some Betty Wright.
Yeah, love Miss Betty.
Yeah.
Well, I know that the rap and hip hop artists absolutely love sampling your music.
Oh, most definitely. I love them to do it, too.
Yeah, I'm sure you do. Absolutely. Especially Kanye West, Jay-Z. You've had Andre 3000, my goodness. You've had some of the biggest names sample your music. What was it? I'm just kind of curious. I mean, what was it like, finding out that these people wanted to sample your music?
Well, I mean, it's just, it just makes you feel good. It's like, a good pat on the back. It's like, someone, just a big knowledge, big knowledge by, people who are doing great things, So you say, wow, of all the people that have made records, you can just go down the line, all these great, great artists. And it's really interesting. Most of the songs that they've sampled of mine are songs that I've written. So not only are there songs that I've performed on, but songs that I've written. And it's like, it's a validation in a way of, of the work that I've done. And then on top of that, because we're talking about the music business, I wrote these songs, I published these songs. So, I own the copyrights of these songs. So as a consequence, when that money starts flowing, it flows to Lenny Williams before it goes to anybody else.
Amen. I think that calls for an amen.
Yes, it does. And so this is why I try to stress to young people who are entering a business, this is a business. You feel good and, and all this other kind of stuff. You're on stage, you got the lights on you. But at the end of the day, it is a business, and so you need to familiarize yourself with all of the, the business etiquette and all the requirements for being successful in this business, and govern yourself accordingly. So I was able to own my own publishing, and so as a consequence. Like when Kanye West and Twister did Overnight Celebrity, 77% of all the publishing and writing rights that were generated by that song came to me, and so, so that's the kind of thing that can happen for you when you take care of business.
Okay, a lot of our fans are musicians, so I just want to speak to the musicians very, very clearly. If you are a musician, we have listeners all over the world because Real Talk with Big G on Crescent City Radio's broadcasted worldwide artist. Did you hear what Lenny just said? Lenny is a songwriter. Lenny owns his own publishing company. When these rap artists and hip-hop artists or whomever decided they wanted to sample his songs, it could be any part of his songs, guess what, ladies and gentlemen? They have to pay what? Royalties. They have to pay for the mechanical rights for use of his lyrics and his music. He received, in terms of compensation, an estimate of 77%. So every single time that song is played on any urban station, any station around the world, Lenny Williams gets paid. So handle your business. Business first, and the music will take care of itself. I just wanted to add that because a part of Real Talk with Big G is to elevate, educate, inspire our listeners. And that's one reason why we wanted to have you on the show as our special guest, because we feel that you are a legend. It speaks for itself. You are the type of entertainer. It is what it is. Lenny Williams is what he is. There's no convincing. When I posted that, hey, we have a special guest, a legend, R&B soul singer, songwriter, entertainer, performer, artist, who's going to be on our show. You know, people like, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God. And I started posting pictures of you to kind of let people kind of get familiarize themselves with you, because you have given so much of you. And I felt that was the least that I could do, was to invite you on the show so you can share your website, lennywilliams.com. That website was created so you can share a piece of yourself with your fans. There's nothing better, in your own words. And you've done it so beautifully. I just want to say thank you. I want to thank you for everything you've done. I want to thank you for all the beautiful songs you've written. I want to thank you for all the compilations. And most importantly, I want to thank you for not turning your back on these young hip-hop rappers. Like a lot of artists, you know, who have reached the top, who've turned their back on some of these artists who are now in need of being able to collaborate with some of these artists. You know, music is music. There's a plethora of different types of genres of music, and there is enough to go around for everybody because the universe is vast. I want to thank you for humbling yourself to reach out to these young artists. Thank you for doing that, because that's not something that you really had to do, but I think it's just part of your makeup. It's just being Lenny. So on behalf of your fans, thank you so very much.
Thank you, and I appreciate it, and thank you for having me on your program, and you have a wonderful, wonderful program, a great platform, and you know, and I think that you know, it's just amazing to watch young people like yourself, get into this mass media and keep the music alive and give so many people opportunities. So I want to thank you. And anytime you need me, you have my number, and most definitely, I just want to say to all your listeners that I appreciate their support over the years, and I'm humbled by it, and I definitely don't take it for granted.
Well, I thank you. Now, can you please tell us where you're going to be performing next?
Next, I'm going to be in Arizona. Well, I have two shows tonight this weekend in California, and then I have kind of corporate shows, and then I'm going to be in Arizona, Phoenix, Arizona on July 4th, and then I'm going to be in Rochester, New York on July 12th with the Whispers, and then July 20th I'm going to be have my golf tournament. It's our 6th-year annual golf tournament. We raise money for the schools, and we've raised about $200,000, for the music programs in the schools, and just keeping it busy, and folks just can check it out on my website, and we'll put up the dates, and just look for me, and and hopefully I'm coming through.
Absolutely. And next year, Lenny, we want to see you live at Essence Music Festival here in New Orleans. Give me a call.
We'll do that. Yeah.
Thank you so very much, and have a wonderful Saturday.
Okay, most definitely. Be good now.
God bless. Take care.
I know.
I'll be right back with more Real Talk with Big G.